I don't like that. I don't know how to start.
What
What are we starting with?
I don't know.
We need to take a shot of something.
I know. I feel asleep. I feel asleep. I don't have any soul right now.
Do you have any vodka?
Yeah, actually.
Let's do that.
Go ahead. Go on.
Go on.
It's on the table.
This is all staying in, by the way.
Okay.
I'm recording all this.
See the sniff test on these glasses.
Huh?
So just had to do the sniff test on these glasses. Haven't used them in a while.
They're pre-COVID.
They are, actually.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let me see.
Das Vidania.
Oh, I'm cutting that out. I'm cutting that out.
Too strong for the baby?
No, it wasn't the strength of it. I went down the
Wrong pipe? Yeah.
Oh, it burns.
That's always fun with rubbing alcohol.
Oh, I'm in so much pain. Oh, God, why? Let's start the show. I've permanently damaged my beautiful voice.
Vocal cords.
So did we just take a shot of?
This was Ragged Branch Weeded Bourbon, Virginia Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 45% ABV, 90 proof. Independently handcrafted. Got him a double gold in the World Spirits Competition in San Francisco.
Cool.
I got it because it was BOGO at Publix.
Oh, at the
Publix Liquors. If you don't know, some Publixes sell liquor.
I feel like throwing up.
It's good. Good way to start the show.
Well, I'm alive.
That's good. Yeah, that's what you needed. Existence is pain.
Oh, maybe I'll leave it in. As embarrassing as that was.
Okay.
I don't care. Whatever.
Well, who cares? It's real. We're about reality.
It's killing my throat. It's like it feels like my throat's dry now.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Ragged Branch. That feels like you're saying the words wrong. Ragged Branch.
Ragged Ranch.
Ragged Ranch.
Yeah.
Ragged Branch. That's not a
Jesus.
it's not a reflection on you. That was it tasted good as much as I could taste.
Miscalculation.
All right. I'm going to need something else. Okay.
Take a sip. Take a sip. Let it cool. Cool the larynx. Your vocal folds.
Vocal folds.
Better?
No.
Okay.
All right. Okay. How about this? How about we just introduce the beer and get going? How about that?
No, I'm fine with that.
How about that?
How about that?
So, I feel sick to my stomach. My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, my great and powerful co-host, Adam Obeses Rodriguez.
What's up, Brewskis?
Tonight's brew is from Redlight. Adam picked this up, and I'm super excited that you did, because I've been staring at it on Instagram all day. And without further ado, Adam, please tell the people what we're drinking tonight.
Oh, this guy right here is, as you said, is the Redlight. It is the Ferme Reserva, according to their Instagram post. It's a special release of our biere de garde, a birdie gurdy, aged an additional 16 months in French oak, which is pretty serious. So, hoping to get some oaky flavor in there. Because I actually have had their original Ferme Dior. So, I think I remember it well enough to be able to compare the two.
Okay.
Along with this, because this came out for specifically Orlando Beer Week, they have a Myrtz, which also looked pretty cool too, but this one just kind of spoke to me a little bit stronger because I have had the other one, the original version of it. Quick side story. I originally intended to go over to our friends at Sideward, and I drove myself all the way out there, and there was a human line wrapping around the entire building.
Really?
Yeah, and no parking. So I went, never mind.
Huh. This was today?
Today? Yeah, on a Wednesday.
Wow, good for them.
I know. On a random Wednesday, I guess the Orlando Beer Week nerds came out.
Huh.
So yeah, I mean, it seemed like Redlight was pretty full too, but I was able to get in there and grab this bad boy.
Yeah.
So excited for it.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm excited. I'm not sure I'll be able to taste it because my throat feels like the Sahara.
Oh, and I should say it's a 7%, 7.5% ABV.
Pretty important.
Yes.
Well, let's just crack that baby open and have ourselves a good old time. This is the One Beer In Podcast. Every time.
Got a cork in it.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to a place where I fit in.
Was it worth it?
Let me
I'll
work
say
it.
so. Put my thing down, flip it, then reverse it. We're also drinking. This podcast is also brought to you by Michelob Ultra. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I needed something else.
It's okay. What am I doing? What am I doing, people?
Right, I saw you doing it, and I was like, "What's
What am I doing?
What do you? Yeah, we're switching glasses now. That's your shit.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Sorry about that. Yeah. All right. Well, as I meant to do.
Try that again. Well, while you do that, this is the One Beer In Podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew and see where that one brew takes us. This is episode 296. And we're very excited to be here, although we don't sound like it. It's kind of a weird evening.
Yeah.
A weird energy.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to, at this point, I'm just going to, I can't let it affect
Just
my
keep
mood anymore.
letting it affect.
If I did, I would
everything.
just, I mean, yeah. My dad came in, and he came upstairs where I was chilling, and he's like, I'm like, did you see? And he said, oh, what, that Trump got impeached again? I'm like, I don't care about that bullshit. No, dude, that James Harden got traded to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
So, oof. Yeah, that's always something that we can connect on is sports.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we can't connect on, politics or belief systems or anything else, sports. There's always sports.
There's always sports.
There is always sports. So, oh, there's more of them in here? I didn't know there was 4 in here.
There's 4.
Young men, if you're trying to connect with your old man.
Young men.
Young men, if If you and your dad have a bad relationship, young man. No, we don't have a bad relationship. But if you do, a good way to break the ice is to just be like, did you see who got traded?
Mm-hmm.
And then just go from there.
Yeah.
This isn't a sports podcast, but James Harden getting traded to the Brooklyn Nets is kind of wacky.
Wacky Nunu.
It's a wacky Nunu. It's going to be a wild season.
Yeah.
When those three guys get together, him, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. I'm excited to watch either the implosion or the explosion of offense.
That was going to be my question is, those are three renowned players. Do you think they're going to play well together?
So, obviously, if you follow basketball, you'll know James Harden and Kevin Durant played in Oklahoma together. But this was at a point where James Harden was coming off the bench, and it was basically Kevin Durant's team. And then he gets traded away, James Harden, and then he flourishes and becomes one of the best offensive weapons in the entire NBA. Kevin Durant remains one of the greatest scorers in the NBA. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they mesh coming back together because they're cool. They like, they're friends. And so there's already that chemistry between Kevin Durant and Kyrie because they're friends, and they decided to go to Brooklyn together.
Right.
So that's already there. James Harden comes into the fold. And, it like I said, it can go one of two ways. You've got these three guys who are very polarizing personalities, and they are... Kevin Durant and James Harden especially demand the ball. They're it's just going to be really interesting to see how they mesh, if they mesh, because their personalities, I don't know. I didn't think that this trade was going to happen at all. I told my dad, we've been talking about this potential because they've been, it's the biggest story in the NBA right now is where's James Harden going to land? And we were, I told my dad, there's no way he lands in Brooklyn. It's the last place. They don't have the assets to give up for him. I just don't see them injecting him into this offense. I just don't see it happening.
You jinxed it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So you're welcome, Brooklyn, or you're welcome, Brooklyn. So that'll be
We
fun.
will soon see.
Excuse me. But yeah, speaking of the Trump thing, I think at this point we kind of have to. This should be a nice refresher back to mid 2020 one beer in where we basically just read the news and reacted to it.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like ages ago?
Yes, it does.
You remember when we had to do the remote podcast?
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels
wild.
like years ago.
The only reason that it feels like I have more recollection of it is because I was going back and looking at some of them, kind of like quality control.
Right.
And just, it's wild. Man, it's really weird. That does seem like that was 5 years ago when we were doing that.
Strange, yeah.
So, yeah, if you're living in this country and you're not living under a rock, then yeah, you've seen that good old Don with 10 days left in his presidency. What's today? The 13th?
Now it's just a week. He's got 7 days.
Really? I thought it
Pretty
was
sure.
20. Oh yeah, you're right. It is 7 days.
Yeah.
7 days. Yeah, he's got with a week left in his presidency. The House voted to impeach him for a record second time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. 10 Republicans broke rank and voted yes to impeach Mr. Trump.
It's because they're haters and losers, clearly.
They're haters and losers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. People have been saying, what's the point? I saw one tweet went crazy viral about the reason why you would want to do that. And one of the reasons being he can't run in 2024. And then another guy was like, that's not true.
Yeah.
He definitely can.
That was going to be my question because this seemed almost too easy.
Yeah.
Because I saw that too about oh, if he gets impeached a second time, it means supposedly he can't run again. He loses like whatever presidential stipend they get for the rest of their lives.
He loses access to Secret Service.
Yeah, security. And yeah, I mean, he's basically like hung out to dry after presidency's up.
Yeah, and then some fact checker, the CNN fact checker, actually, he's like, that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, it all of this came together so quickly that it felt like there'd be more of a commotion around it if that were the case. Like,
yeah,
you feel like I mean, I personally feel like you would have heard more, rumblings of that coming. Like, oh, so now this is what it means.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you would. That's why I'm like, yeah, there's no way that can be true because, yeah, you would think that more Democrats and more liberals would be like, we have to get this done because if we can get this done, he won't be able to run again. So like, it's kind of imperative that we get this done. Right. And so, yeah, that's
not like, any of his kids would run instead,
Well, they're saying that apparently Ivanka thought that she had a pretty good chance at winning, later on in life. Yeah. And that this whole debacle kind of shoots down her political aspirations, at least for now.
Yeah, they'll spin it like they spin everything else.
I find it funny that she would think that she was qualified to run the country, not run for House of Representatives or Senate or the Congress or even to be a fucking mayor.
Right.
She was like, I can just be the next president.
I mean, her dad showed that
I know.
You can.
That's what I'm saying. It's just really funny that his lasting legacy will be being impeached twice. It's like it's dancing on the back of my throat, dude. It's like right there, just won't go away.
That ragged branch is tickling your tonsils.
I can't believe I did that. I've never, ever.
Sure.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay? Fuck you.
Yeah. It happens all the time.
You have been.
It happens all the time.
Listen.
It's okay.
Listen, stop it. Okay?
You don't have to explain yourself.
You have been around for almost the entire time that I've been drinking. In fact, some would say that it's your fault that I'm an alcoholic.
Really?
Yeah, some would say that.
Would some say that?
Yeah, some would.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying some would say that. Okay? So.
Okay. All right.
You tell me.
Mr. House Party. Yeah. Yeah. I had a ton of those in high school. Let me tell you what.
And, I mean, we had a lot of get-togethers at your place.
Yeah. That was later on down the line. You were already on this track, bud. Don't even do that to me. Okay?
Those were experimental days.
They were.
Experimental days.
Yes.
So his legacy will be getting impeached twice, a record.
Yeah.
And I mean, probably a smattering of other things, the wall and being a racist bigot, and also the fact that like he's inspired people to think that, I mean, if he can do it, I can certainly do it.
Yeah.
What and that's. Go ahead. I'm trying to think of the word.
Well, I was just gonna say it's tough because it's even more than that. It's like he's inspired and empowered an entire generation of politicians who are now, that's their base. Like, that's what they're running for. It's like everyone's talking about, we have to unify now. This is a time for rebuilding these relationships and yada, yada, yada.
I love it.
It sounds great. Let's do that. But fact of the matter is, there's also this other side of the Republican Party who is still steeped in the idea that this election was a fraud, that, our system's broken still, and, that Trump very well should be president for a second term, and that people are just picking on him. And he has no culpability for what happened with this, terrible riot. But it's just, it sucks because I feel like naturally people are more entranced with those kind of people.
Yeah.
Those kind of politicians, the ones who are gonna, get their hands dirty.
Yeah, the ones that are going to drain the swamp.
Right. Or, like frankly, excuse my French, the dickheads. Like the Matt Gateses of this world.
Yeah.
That kin of people, of politicians.
You seen the forehead on that dude?
Of course.
Looks like a
Who
skateboard.
hasn't? They've seen it from Japan. That's neither here nor there.
That guy salutes back here.
It's his coif. You can see it from orbit.
It's too high.
Too high.
It's too high.
Too high for a square-headed man.
Well, not only is his hair, his face is square, his forehead's too big.
Yeah.
His hair is too high. His face is too small. So it accentuates how big his head is.
Right?
Because
yeah.
all of his facial features are like scrunched in,
but then a lot of real estate on the sides.
Yeah, too much land mass.
Yeah.
And he's built everything right in the middle of the town square.
Yeah. He's not taking advantage of all that space.
Definitely not. This guy has not played Animal Crossing.
No, I think maybe this is true for most men. I feel like he would do well with a beard to take up some of that space, to do something with it,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I would say 85% of men do well with just growing a little bit of facial hair just to kind of take up some of that space.
At least see what it looks like. It covers up any blemishes and,
Unless you're Ted Cruz. Then it looks like you stapled it on.
Yeah. Not all guys can do that.
Yeah. Ted Cruz looks like it looks like a movie beard, but like a low budget movie where you're like, he didn't grow that. There's no way he grew that.
It looks like a disguise, but like a bad one.
It looks like a disguise, yeah. And he painted it different colors just to like make it look more natural. Fuck you, Ted Cruz.
Yeah, forever and always. But yeah, no, I mean that's the main thing is like as much as people are saying right now in the moment, oh, we need to unify, oh, we need to rebuild and reforge this country back into this unified group that we once were. Mm-hmm. That sounds all well and good, but the fact of the matter is the people who are still, I feel, going to end up winning out unless we have a massive cultural shift in this country are the Donald Trumps. Mm-hmm. Because he opened the floodgates for these people. Mm-hmm. He opened the floodgates to allow politicians to feed into our like worst desires of fear and hatred and not caring about other people and making fun of other people and like being an asshole essentially.
Yeah.
And that mudslinging tactic has allowed like a WWE style to politics nowadays. It's no longer this thing for adults. It's this thing to watch for gossip essentially, you know, like to watch the fireworks, and it shouldn't be that because it's actually really important.
Yeah. Who's going to say what about who?
Exactly. And it shouldn't be that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not a good legacy to leave behind, but it is what it is. I mean, let's just talk about where we are right now. Second impeachment. They charged him with inciting insurrection.
Right.
And they first tried to get Mr. Mike Pensive. You like that?
It's good.
That's like New York Times article writing right there.
Yeah.
Mike Pensive.
Mm-hmm. Headline artistry.
I'm sorry. And they tried to get him to invoke the 25th Amendment, which basically, in layman's terms, is the vice president and I think Congress has deemed the president unfit to serve.
Right.
And so they would remove him from office due to him being unfit to serve. Mm-hmm. And Mike Pence said, nah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. So then they were like, all right, we go to the next best thing, which is the thing that he actually did.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to go into the legalese and all that jazz.
No, and I was actually going to say I have a recommendation for everyone out there. Check out on YouTube Legal Eagle.
Legal Eagle.
Yeah, it's this channel with this lawyer who talks about big court cases, especially current event court cases going on, and one of them was everything about what exactly is the legality around inciting a riot, because that was the big thing that they were saying he did, was incite a riot.
Yeah.
And he goes into exactly legally what it is to incite a riot and the past cases that this is based on. And it was really eye-opening to me as far as, what we can expect out of this, if anything. So highly recommend checking that out. It's a, relatively short video. Get educated.
That's good.
It's good.
That's what people need, is short videos.
Yeah.
So we won't get into all of that. You can watch the Legal Eagle. He'll get on all of that. The most interesting thing, and the thing that obviously everybody's been talking about, is the fallout from the riot at the Capitol. How much Donald Trump played a role in inciting the riot, and how much his social media presence is the reason for all of this. Right? So to give you a basic rundown, actually starting to feel a little bit better. To give you a basic rundown, Donald Trump had a rally at the Capitol, well, near the Capitol, wherein he basically told his supporters to go to the Capitol. Now, I want to be fair. He didn't say in his speech, let's go down there and fuck shit up, right? But you have to believe that Donald Trump knows what he's doing, right? Yeah. You have to believe that not that he knew or expected them to kill people, but he didn't seem that concerned.
No.
So Donald Trump has this speech, and he says, we're going to go down to the Capitol, and we're going to show them what we're made of, basically. These fucking cowardly Republicans and these piece of shit Democrats. These fucking... Ugh. If I was 300 pounds lighter, I would go down there myself.
Does anyone have a Segway scooter?
Can I actually segue?
He would never be able to stop, because have you seen him standing at a profile? He's forever doing the smooth criminal.
That is exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Oh my God.
What? Why does he stand like that?
I don't know. I don't know how, it breaks the laws of physics.
He should be toppling over.
Yes.
What? He always seems like he's being blown over by a stiff wind,
yes.
and he's fighting it.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of...
He's always walking in Chicago. It's crazy.
He looks like... Do you remember that scene in... remember that scene in Austin Powers, Goldmember, where Austin Powers is on the shoulders of Mini-Me? That's the joke. You think Mini-Me's going to be the head, and it's actually Austin Powers. Yeah. And he's like walking with his little feet. Yes. That's what he looks like all the time. He looks like his feet are too long small, coat. Big, long, oversized coat. Yeah. He's standing at this weird angle where he should fall over, but he doesn't. I saw a bunch of people saying that that's like evidence of him having dementia, apparently. Like, yeah, there's like this side-by-side diagram. I mean, obviously it's Twitter, so who knows? People just fucking post shit.
Yeah.
But it's like frontal temporal lobe dementia, where that's one of the things that they do is like kind of lean like forward.
That.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on his mental state or... Anyway, so he has the speech. They go down to the Capitol and they riot. And honestly, dude, at this point, I mean, hopefully you have read and you have kept up with this and you know kind of what's going on. I really don't have I don't have it all in front of me to tell you everything that happened at this.
There's a lot.
Yeah, it's just at this point explaining everything that happened at the Capitol and explaining the fallout and what's going to happen would take up the whole podcast.
Yeah.
So
we specifically avoided it last episode too for that reason.
Suffice to say, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. I don't want to talk about that. I think what's more relevant right now is to talk about the fallout socially from something like this.
Okay.
Because what's been on the tips of tongues on the internet has been the social media blackout of our president. First time in the history of the United States, in the short amount of time that presidents have been utilizing social media and the internet to get their message across. And obviously, we all know that Donald Trump has utilized social media better, quote unquote, than anyone else has to get his message across. And so for these social media companies have finally, not even just social media companies, but pretty much the fucking internet decided that after his speech and then subsequent video during the riots,
right, of them having a grand old time,
wherein he tells them, all right, it's time to go home now. It's time to go home. We love you. You're very special.
You're very special.
But it's time for peace.
As they're bashing a cop's skull, and
it's time for peace now. Go home. We know you guys are. He basically said, "Look, you guys are right.
Party's over, though. You know,
look,
my mom's really mad.
Hey, look,
please.
Hey, if it was up to me, we would fuck this fucking place up. But it's not up to me. You guys got a little crazy.
Yeah."
And you kind of made it so that, like, now I have to fucking, you know.
No one told me Ricky was going to bring blow, okay?
If I would have known that I would have told him to go straight to the bathroom. But instead, he was in the fucking living room, had it on the coffee table, really kind of fucked up the vibes, okay? So everybody just go home now. We love you. You're very special. Next week, come back. We'll have it planned better.
I'll call you tomorrow. I promise.
I promise. So after that, he posts that video, and then Twitter and Facebook were like, nah. They snatched that video down, and and then they finally took the step that people have been asking Twitter to take for. Excuse me, I'm talking.
Sorry,
excuse me.
I got a little bored.
You fucking asshole.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd rather watch John Oliver talk about this.
Do you want to take over?
Oh, no, please.
You want to break it down?
Go ahead. I wouldn't know where to begin.
How dare you? So Twitter, Jack, finally was like, enough is enough. You've incited enough violence. Yeah. Enough people have been hurt. That we're going to take that video down. We're going to take down 2 or 3 tweets, and we're also going to suspend your account. Right?
Yeah.
Let me fast forward through this, because you're right. This is stupid.
No, I was joking.
No, I know.
I was researching. I was trying to pull some facts, and they had an autoplay video because they're assholes.
You got to turn those off, man.
I know. But I was going to say, as you fast forward, YouTube just today finally banned Trump for a week.
So wouldn't that affect the video that they just posted?
Yes. I saw it on Twitter because they posted on, I think, the White House Twitter page, which is still up.
Yeah.
So that's where I saw it.
Okay. And to that point, he gets banned. He deletes the tweets because Jack told him he has to delete those tweets.
Right.
He deletes the tweets. Then he comes back and he's still talking greasy, right? Still talking mad shit. Then Jack is finally he's like, you know what? That's it.
Yeah. You don't get this anymore.
Yeah. You ruined it. Okay? That's it. We're taking your phone. They take his phone. It's like that Marge Simpson, Lisa Simpson meme where she goes up behind her and she taps her on the shoulder and she's looking up like, have you seen that?
Yeah.
Dude, the first time I saw that, because the first time I saw that meme, it was it said go into training mode, which have you ever worked at a call center? I don't think you ever worked at a call center, did you?
I'm far better than you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You really, dude, you really are. At call centers.
My first job was at a dry cleaners.
Oh,
so
still cooler.
No, not much. No, literally not. especially in Florida, because I don't know if you knew this, but quick aside,
Go ahead.
at dry cleaners, I don't know if it's still the case today, but when I was working at a dry cleaners, and I worked at 2 separate dry cleaners, mind you, I'm a dry cleaning man. At both of them, at the center that they actually do the dry cleaning at, no air conditioning is allowed.
Because of what it would
Because
do
of
to the...
Well, no, not that. Because of the chemicals that are used in dry cleaning. Apparently, they don't react well with air conditioning coolant. And that was at least what they told me. They could have just really been cheap and gotten over on me. But I spent my summers sweating my balls off.
Yeah.
At dry cleaners.
The one that was close to my house, they had
Yeah.
their doors open all the time, and I always wondered about that.
That's the one I worked at.
You worked at the one in the
that
Publix
Publix,
Plaza?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that. What were you in the back?
Shout out to Miss Kim.
What were you?
She was my boss.
What did you do there?
I worked as a cashier and basically just ran around grabbing people's clothes.
How did I never see you?
I don't know.
That's so weird. Do you know how close you were? We were neighbors for a while.
Yeah.
I worked at that Publix, and you worked at that dry cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were a walking distance from each other, and we never interacted ever.
2 ships crossing in the dark.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Well, and how did we get on dry cleaning?
Oh, I was talking about how I'm better than you.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah, right. So the first time I saw that meme, yes, that's our first jobs.
Right.
When you're at a call center, you have different modes that you can put the phone in, so that basically the only way if you're at a call center, there's like 1,000 of you in these cubicles, right?
Yeah.
And the only way for them to track you is through the phones. So they have to know what mode you're in, and then they can log into the system and go, oh, he's taking calls, oh, he's on break, oh, he's on lunch, so on and so forth, right? Because at a regular job, you could just dip off into the bathroom, be gone for like half an hour, and you come back and they're just like, where were you? I was in the back doing shit, which I've done before.
I was pooping.
I haven't even touched this. Let me grab this. I've been talking. So anyway, different call centers have different modes, but usually there's aux mode or training mode, break mode. You log out of the computer or you go into lunch mode, and then there's taking calls, go mode, talking, phone calls, green light, what have you.
Okay.
The first time I saw that was the top text was her, like Lisa just talking shit, and then it was like, go ahead and go into training mode for me. And when you get a joke that is so relevant to your life,
Yeah, very specific.
that it's like someone knew you and wrote it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was crying.
That's how I feel about a lot of the those nostalgia memes or jokes that like we all shared the same experiences as kids, like doing the same weird, like idiosyncratic things that we thought that only we did.
Yes, it's wild.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody says something and I'm like, I thought for sure I was the only person on this planet who did that.
Yeah.
Turns out 300,000 other people did that.
Yep.
So, fuck, I don't know where we were. What the fuck were we talking about?
Social media.
Trump, social
Twitter.
media.
Jack blocked them.
Jack came by and said, go ahead and go into training mode for me.
Yep.
So he gets a social. They ban his Twitter account, Real Donald Trump. Now, mind you, his Twitter account is one of the most followed pages on Twitter.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Donald Trump as a person, but his social media engagement is off the charts. His follower count, I mean, it's probably filled with a bunch of bots, but at the same time, this is...
Oh, and that was an entire other discussion.
Was how many of them were bots?
When
they
massive
scrub the...
purge.
Right.
And all these conservatives complaining about it.
Like, where are all my followers going?
Yeah. Like,
Well, they deactivated all the robots, so
Yeah.
that's where they went.
back to Russia.
So he... Yeah, you can say what you want about him as a person, as a politician, as a piece of shit, as a, whatever you want.
Right.
But one thing you can't take away from him is the fact that he mastered social media in 2020 and onward, right? Yeah. For better or for worse. You can say what you want, but his engagement, he literally changed policy on Twitter.
Yeah. Now, is that a compliment to him, or is that based more on the fact that he currently is and soon will not be the president of the United States on Twitter?
I think it's a little of both, honestly. I think you have to give credit to Donald Trump for maybe he didn't do this consciously, but he did spend an inordinate amount of time on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, that's what a lot of us are doing.
Yeah.
And for him to have changed policies, for him to have announced massive things that he's announced in his presidency on Twitter, before he did a press release, before he even told his aides sometimes.
Yeah.
For him to utilize Twitter in the way that he did, you have to give him credit. Maybe, like I said,
he used it like a person.
Exactly. He used it like a normal person.
Right.
There was no artifice. There was no shield between him. Usually there is that presidential shield between the regular people and the man who runs the free world.
It's called professionalism.
Right. I completely agree with you. And there was none of that in his presidency. And so, for better or for worse, you do have to give him credit for the fact that he created something that, like I said, I'm not saying that this is a good thing. I'm not complimenting him. I am just stating the facts. I'm giving credit where it's due. This is, you could say I'm faulting him, whatever makes you feel better, but it is something that he did.
Yeah, you're observing the truth.
It is. It's just the truth that, like, no one else, even Obama, he was very masterful in the way that he represented himself on social media, but it was still this kind of glossy artifice that it was a manufactured view of who he was.
His set the stage for them leveraging the internet and social media for more traditional politics, for amassing a base in the youth.
Yes.
And, I mean, maybe that set the stage.
Maybe it's Obama's fault.
Could be. Thanks, Obama.
Maybe it's his administration that was like, we're gonna do some youth outreach, and the best way to do it is on Instagram, Facebook.
And back then it was like
Twitter.
MySpace.
Yeah.
But
and then Donald Trump took that to the next level. I mean, but at the same time, it's not like he did anything different than what he was doing before he was president. And that's the craziest thing about it. Is that he
didn't do anything
he
different.
didn't change anything.
No.
Donald Trump didn't. Dude, when you look back on how often one of your right-wing friends or one of your moderate friends would tell you, well, I mean, he'll do something presidential. He'll get it together. I was reading this article about how even in the very beginning, when he first became president, a lot of people were like, well, there's no way that he can do X, Y, and Z because there's going to be too many people. There's too many checks and balances in the way. He won't be able to accomplish literally any of these things that he's talking about, right? Mike Pence is there. And for all of the bad shit that you could say about Mike Pence, he's at least a career politician. And there's no way that he would let any of this kind of shit happen. And it's just hilarious thinking back on the people who were like, there's no way. You're like, there is a way.
There's a way.
So anyway, let's get back on track.
Okay.
He's blacked out on his account, and then he does something that is genuinely, sincerely hilarious.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd use that word, because that's how I describe it too. Hilarious.
Going from account to account, trying to get back on and trying to get his shit off
allegedly
on multiple accounts. Oh, they're now saying that that's not what he did? Oh, God, dude. When I saw that he was tweeting from Team Trump, I was like, dude, this goes back to those days where you're like, he's kind of a garbage human, but he's funny at least.
Yeah.
This was when he was harmless, when he was just like a shitty dude.
It was entertaining when he wasn't the leader of the free world. Mm-hmm. You know?
And like, man, he's saying some really shitty stuff.
He's an asshole.
Sometimes he's kind of funny.
It's funny.
Assholes can be funny sometimes.
Let's let the monkey drive the bus. Let's do it.
So they shut down real Donald Trump. Then he went to the POTUS account, and they killed the POTUS account. They killed Team Trump. They killed, I think that was it. Maybe there was one more. I love it. So they iced out his whole social media, right? And then this avalanche of social media, movers and shakers in the web industry, they all just started like falling in line.
Yeah.
With, you know what? We're going to ban them too.
Yep.
Facebook waited a little bit, and then Mark Zuckerberg was like, you know what? The shit that he's popping off on Facebook, it's a little too dangerous now. And everyone was like, cool, man. I mean, he's going to be gone in 2 weeks, but good for you, Mr. Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
So the Zucks bans him, and then everyone jumped on the train.
I'm pulling up a full list here.
Please.
We got Twitter banned, Facebook banned, YouTube banned, Amazon banned, Snapchat banned, Reddit banned, Twitch banned, Liquid Web banned. And then that was the other thing too. The right-wing Twitter alternative, Parler, got delisted on basically everything.
Yeah.
So Google, Amazon, like all Android networks, everything.
Shadow ban, if you will.
Apple, obviously. So that was an entire thing too, because immediately everyone on Twitter who was a diehard Trumper was like, well, we're going to leave Twitter then. That's what we're going to do.
We're going to Parler.
Right. And they did. And then we slowly, not so slowly, we quickly started to see terroristic threats.
Yep.
Plans for
another insurrection
start to creep up. And that's when immediately, swiftly, they were banned.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so. Oh, by the way, Spotify banned him. Shopify banned him.
Just for fun.
Those are just funny to me. That they were like, hey, we banned him too.
He's not here.
And we're like,
yeah, we know.
Cool.
That's fine.
Anyway, Amazon banning him is also kind of funny too, because it's like, oh, what? Now he can't order shit on Amazon? Like, what could they stop him from? What could he have done had he moved over to Amazon?
This article I think is specifically calling out Amazon Web Services because of the Parler thing,
right?
To say that Parler is no longer available on Amazon, which came after Google and Apple removed them too.
Well, now Parler is suing Amazon for that,
right?
Which brings us to the real topic at hand, even though we're almost an hour in. The real deal topic here is, what does this all mean going forward? What does this all mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Because Donald Trump being banned on all of these social media platforms, and then Parler getting delisted, basically shadow banned on all of these platforms, to some is the solution, right? You strike down hate speech. It's to some people it's pretty cut and dry. Yep. You go onto a website, you agree to that website's terms of services. You breach those terms of services. You're warned multiple times that if you do this again, you'll be removed from this platform. You breach them again, you get removed. That's it.
Yeah.
To some people, he's being removed for speech that should be protected by the First Amendment. Now, I don't want to get into the legalese of that just yet. We will. We have to.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that I would pose to you is, and this just goes for all kinds of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it is more important to leave those things up for posterity, for evidence, for just for other people to check those things? Do you think that it's more important to just let there be free reign so that you can have everybody decide for themselves, or do you believe that what they're doing right now is the solution to this kind of problem?
Hard to say.
And I'll answer too, so
Okay.
that you're not left hanging out to dry.
Thank you, because that's very difficult.
I know it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's complex. It's very complex because on one end, it's like, there's always the fear of, oh, well, they're going for your enemies right now, but wait until they go after you and start silencing you because you have this opinion. Now, I think that's bullshit in this conversation, because the reason why this happened to begin with was because though Trump didn't explicitly say, go to the Capitol, riot, break shit, kill cops, try to murder politicians, didn't explicitly say that, but, at the very least, his words were reckless.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in that case, you have to use some common sense and realize that he is stirring the pot in a very divisive election, very tumultuous time in this country. And as a company, you have to think about your responsibility, finally your responsibility in kind of letting this boil over.
Yeah.
Because your platform has been used for both positive and negative politically. So, but it more than used, it's been abused. Mm-hmm. It's been, taken over by bots. It's been taken over by misinformation. And I think this is kind of them now jerking the wheel in the other direction and going, no, we're going to have some control over this now. Which, fine, I guess better late than never. But I don't think we'd be in the same place if they took a modicum of responsibility for the bots, for the misinformation, for the direct lies that they allowed to not only be on their websites, but to be promoted on their websites, to rot the brains of an entire generation of boomers and younger people too. So it's tricky. I personally prefer more freedoms than less.
Yeah.
Than fewer, excuse me. Grammar. But, at the same time, there has to be responsibility for that freedom. Yeah. Because it comes with consequences sometimes. So, if they found on their platform that people were making terroristic threats or trying to stage a coup or, X, Y, and Z. I mean, even if it was just implied, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they weren't directly saying X, Y, or Z, but I mean, look at the mafia. They never go, kill Jimmy and throw him in the lake.
Right.
They say, take care of the thing that we talked about.
Take care of that thing, right?
So, I mean, it's super simple to read between the lines. Let's not be stupid here. Okay?
Right.
So if that's even hinted at, if this violence or this kind of mentality of political violence in any capacity, especially based on lies, is being perpetrated on on your platform, you got to do something about it.
Right.
So, I mean, in this case, I'm for it, but I think they need to be careful.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah. I think that I think that when you're using a service, I think that these services shot themselves in the foot by pretending to be these beacons of free speech and these beacons of basically for people to have whatever conversation that they want to have, right?
Yeah.
I think that from the jump, had companies like Reddit and Facebook and Twitter laid the hammer down on people, like you said, take care of the problem of bots. Dude, if you post something, look at any Instagram post.
Oh yeah.
Literally any
We see it on our page all the time.
Exactly,
Yeah.
dude. And we're like, imagine a post, a page with 200 plus followers. Now imagine someone with 2 million followers.
Right. Multiply it.
It's 3/4 bots.
Yeah.
Just destroy. So anyway, like you said, taking care of that problem sooner, and not pretending to be this place where everybody can come congregate and say whatever they wanted. Because I mean, you've seen it even with like companies like Tumblr taking the porn off their page, right? Things like that, where you're like, well, I mean, you said that we could post anything, and they're like, well, not anything. And it's like, well, you got to be a little bit clearer about what we can and can't post.
Right.
I am all for. I'll say this at the top. I believe that. God damn, it's so complicated, dude. Because on the one hand, I believe that you leave those things up so that people can like a Ben Shapiro post, or like Milo or Alex Jones, or any of these like controversial figures.
Yeah. Gay frogs.
Deplatforming them has proven to have worked, honestly. People, we just don't talk about Milo anymore. We don't talk about Alex Jones that much anymore. And so those things, I mean, it's proven to work, but at what cost? I mean, those people, like, whatever, fuck Alex Jones, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, where does it end? You don't. I think that there are people who are far more intelligent than me who can look at a post from Ben Shapiro or Alex Jones and be able to rebuke those things, and come back with a far better response. And I believe that we need those people who are more intelligent than ourselves to say, look, this is the reason why what Ben Shapiro is saying, even though he's saying it in this very cute and linguistic way, it's bullshit. And this is why. In layman's terms, this is why he's full of shit.
Right.
And you don't get that when you don't even get that other side of the equation. I believe that if we're gonna educate ourselves, then that we need to hear the other side. We don't need to entertain those things as far as like lawmaking is concerned. And like, the fact of the matter is, if there's, there's a QAnon congresswoman or representative, I don't know, I don't remember her name, but it's like that kind of shit is. But when we're talking about, I wouldn't care if she was on Twitter doing all that.
Right.
Because there's people who, like I said, far more intelligent than myself, who would come in and respond to those things, right? When it comes to Donald Trump, it's a little more difficult. It's a little more complex because it's not cut and dry. It's not just that he said what he said and we shouldn't censor any free speech. It's the president, blah, blah, blah. Like you said, it's not just that he said what he said at the rally. It's not just that he said what he said in that video. It's the multiple tweets where the reason that those guys are there is because they believe that this election was taken from them.
Right. He raised the stakes.
And for him to go on to social media and continue to stoke those flames, you can say whatever you want, but when you look at the stuff that he was saying in the midst of them storming the Capitol. Now, mind you, it took them 90 minutes to call in the National Guard. And by all accounts, Donald Trump wasn't even the one who did it.
No, it was apparently Pence.
Donald Trump was sitting there watching it on TV, watching it unfold.
Right. And the theory here is pretty clear. He didn't want it to look bad that his supporters had to be greeted by the National Guard.
Right.
Because in any other situation, National Guard would have already been there.
Right.
Just in case. Just in case, right? We saw it throughout the other protests that happened throughout the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were ready. They were prepared for anything.
Yep. But this time around,
no.
Kind of weird.
Nope. And then the delays and like you literally apparently had Congress people calling saying we need the National Guard here. We need them, and receiving nothing.
Yeah.
For hours.
So when you bring all of that together and then you say and then you deplatform him. The problem is a lot of these people who are coming to Donald Trump's defense are not taking everything into context. He spent his entire presidency saying all kinds of crazy shit. He spent his entire time on Twitter saying all kinds of crazy shit. Shit that if he was just a normal person and people had reported him, he would have been deplatformed already. He would have been banned already. Sure. No doubt about it. Fucking Freddie Gibbs gets taken off of Instagram because he posts like fucking small people.
The fuck?
Yeah, I mean, you kidding me? Because Donald Trump was the leader of the free world, he got more leeway. And they admitted that they gave him a longer rope because they felt that as the leader of the free world, the things that he said, good or bad, were important.
Had more merit.
They needed to be up. They had more merit.
Right.
So he got a lot of leeway, dude.
Sure.
A lot of leeway. A long rope.
4 years of it.
The way that I look at it is this. Let's say you built a park, right? And you're sitting there at the gates and you're like, look, we got Jungle Gym over there. We got monkey bars. And
Are those all people?
Huh?
Jungle Gym.
We got Jungle Gym, monkey bars. And we've got a swing set, right? You can play anywhere you want, but on the swing set, you can't play on the swing set, right? Everybody comes in, and then there's people on the swing set, and you're like, look, listen, when you walked in, you agreed that the only way that you could come in here is if you played on the Jungle Gym and the monkey bars, but not the swing set. And that person's like, go fuck yourself. Multiple times you have to warn this person to get off the swing set.
Yeah.
Then finally you go, you know what? Get the fuck out of my park. And then that person goes, I thought this was a free space.
I'm being oppressed.
This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid, but that is the point of a TOS for a website.
Yeah.
You log into that. It's crazy to me that people are like, they have to host my shitty opinions.
Yeah. Now, I understand. I understand the argument that, well, you know, it's more than just a website. It is a communications vehicle that is more powerful than anything, even the traditional media at this point.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you about that because that does alter things.
Yeah.
It's bigger than just a jungle.
It's not a blog. It's not.
Right.
It's not a blog. Like it is. It has far further reaching tendrils than that. And I understand that argument. I do.
Tendrils.
Yeah.
Good word.
Thank you. I get that. I definitely do understand that side of it, but at the same time, like, again, that's the way it is currently. You know, you saw a lot of people, you know, on the news. Ironically, a lot of conservatives on the news talking about the fact that their voices aren't being heard.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm not being heard right now.
Right. So it's like you're not being heard on the platform.
On CNN.
Yeah. You're not being heard on the platform you're used to. It may not be as interactive as you're accustomed to. You're not going to get as many pats on the back from Russian bots and such. But you're still being heard. You're not being suppressed by the government. And that's the point of the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Now, you know, if we want to have a conversation down the line about upping the standard that social media platforms have to exist on, you know, I'll have that conversation with you. We could talk about that. But the fact of the matter is, currently, the way that we are right now, it's not a First Amendment rights issue.
No, it's not.
It's not. It just frankly is not. Now, you know, I understand that it's a powerful platform, but, you know, you got money, set up your own thing.
Yeah.
Find the most brilliant conservative coder who can possibly make an app for you, and find a company that will host it for you. You have a community that's built in.
Yeah.
Do a grassroots style thing. Make your own thing. If they don't allow you in, make your own thing.
If you truly have 70-something million Americans who are real, opposed to the 81 million Americans who aren't real, apparently,
Right.
then you will have no trouble building a platform for yourself.
Yeah.
Now,
Not easy, mind you. I understand it's not as easy as that, but
yeah.
You're not without that ability to potentially do that.
And that, I mean, is that not the entire point of this country, of
It's
capitalism?
Yeah. If you're not allowed to do something here, you find a way to do it elsewhere.
Right.
And then you make billions of dollars because you're the only one that's allowing conservative voices on your network.
Hey, Trump, they're talking about Trump News Network, and
Of course.
I mean,
of course. It's been a shoo-in from the very beginning.
Yeah.
If you don't think he's been setting up this entire time to have his own network, like OAN, he's going to do his own thing if he can't just get himself squeezed in there.
Right.
If you don't think that's been the plan all along, you haven't been paying attention.
Right. And the thing about a platform like Twitter or Facebook or is this was built by people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
a guy decided. If you simplify it to the point that it's what it is, right, is a dude who coded a thing and then it blew up. Who are you to come in 5 years later and be like, you have to do what I say?
Yeah.
Like, it's wild to me. This isn't something that, again, if it was a government entity, then you would be protected by the First Amendment.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is it isn't.
Yeah.
It's a guy who built a thing, and then that thing got really popular, and then you decided that you wanted to be a part of that thing that we're all a part of, and we all agreed that these were the rules that we were going to abide by while we use this thing, and then you broke those rules, and then you think that you just get to hang out?
Yeah.
You broke my mother's furniture. You think you're going to stay at the party?
Right.
You're going home. Get
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
Like, why do you think you get to kick over the lampshade and then keep doing blow?
Are we back at Trump's party? Is that what we're doing?
We are.
Yeah. Okay.
We are.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild to me that people are
Silly.
like, Twitter is a free platform for everybody. First Amendment. It's like, it's not, dude. It's not.
Yeah.
The what we're talking about is a far more complex issue, but the simple fact of the matter is it's not a First Amendment issue. And that's the thing that like is getting clouded in all these arguments on Twitter, is that people are trying to argue that they're breaking the First Amendment, free speech, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's like, look, you're not arguing about the right thing. You want to talk about something that has nothing to do with this. First, the First Amendment is protection against the government censoring you.
Yeah.
You're talking about the wrong thing. If you want to have a discussion about the precedent that this sets, then we can have that discussion.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to talk about in 5 years, what is Twitter going to be? Because in my opinion, that's the most important conversation that needs to be had. Because like you were kind of alluding to it earlier, Twitter was a thing where everybody came on, hashtag, made jokes, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, Donald Trump used it as a vital part of his presidency.
Yeah.
That is not going to change because he's no longer the president. It's only going to increase. And the reason that all of these Republican politicians are so upset is because they understand the power of Twitter.
It's scary. It's scary. Because a lot of the fear comes with like, well, who's really behind these companies?
Right.
Is it China?
China.
Is it China? Is it people who don't have America's best interests? Because that's where a lot of the conservative fear-mongering comes from, is that like we don't really, we don't know who's in Mark Zuckerberg's pocket or Jack's pocket.
Right.
So, if we start talking about, oh, well, they're now influencing our culture and our government based on who's paying the most, and they will adjust their rules and regulations based upon we're seeing it happen with the Hollywood movie system in China. Like
they're literally rewriting movies.
They're rewriting movies. They're doing alternate scenes. They're flat out not allowing movie studios to film certain things because it doesn't jive with the Chinese audience.
Right.
Who is the Chinese companies are funding a lot of these films. So money talks, and the fear is that we're going to slowly become infiltrated and changed because all of the most popular companies are getting kickback from this giant country that has more money than we do.
Right.
Right. And then we end up hung out to dry, and it's this war we don't see happening behind the scenes.
Yeah. I don't think that these fears should be just dismissed outright because right now it's happening to right-wing white supremacists.
Right.
I do think that there is a discussion that needs to be had about where this goes. Right now, the problem is it's happening to people who are spreading hate speech. And, it's like, it's hard to argue with a person who's like, well, that person doesn't like Jews, so they shouldn't be able to talk on this platform. It's hard to be like, yeah, but we need to see that hate speech so that for prosperity, blah, blah, blah,
right,
blah,
right.
we need to be
but
like.
Their argument is like, you're okay with that, so that's like that's the sugar on the pill before you have to actually take the medication.
Right.
Yeah, and so, we have to be careful about this, obviously, but at the same time, I think we both agree what's happening right now is not this radical suppression of conservative views and thoughts.
Right,
That's not what's happening right now. Now let's keep an eye on it because it can very easily get overboard with regulations and stuff that affect the way that we communicate in this modern world. But at the end of the day, they're companies. End of story.
Yeah.
They can choose who's on their platform and who's not.
And call me naive, man, but I just really don't see it happening in a way that these Republican fear mongers are trying to make it seem like it's going to happen. Like they're going to come after you next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to come after me. And while I try out my terrible stand-up routine on like they're going to come after me.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not. They don't give a fuck about me.
Yet.
Mm-hmm. But even if... yeah, right.
Get big enough, they're going to smash you right down.
Right.
I'll tell you what, buddy.
I just think that people are conflating the leader of the free world not conceding the presidency to, you making some off-color joke.
And it's just so convenient that that's their fear when it's really just that their pick for president lost an election.
Yeah.
It's a little too convenient for me is all I'm saying.
I just, every time that you see something like this happen, it's always fun to imagine like, okay, if Joe Biden had said something, weird or off-colored or, like he's done.
Sure.
And then Twitter was like, we can't have that kind of speech on here. And they deplatformed him. Do you think that like Matt Gaetz would come out and be like,
no, of course not. Of course not.
It's just, I don't know. That's just that part of it is funny to me because sometimes
two-faced ghouls.
Sometimes I'll come down the stairs and my dad will be watching Tucker Carlson. And he now he's gotten to the point where like I'll make a snarky comment every time I come downstairs, so he'll change it before I can see that he's watching Tucker.
It's like he's watching porn.
Yeah, but sometimes I'll come down and I'll catch it.
Yeah,
I'll catch it and I'll be like, oh, you're watching this idiot again, this dweeb, this like if I saw Tucker Carlson, you would get these hands, Tucker. Let me just tell you that you would get these hands.
You'll have to tucker and roll away from these mitts. I'll tell you what.
I just don't get
these alpha males that are like, yeah, Tucker's got it right.
Yeah, my dad watching a guy like Tucker and being like, makes a good point.
Yeah.
I could see it.
He loves America.
Anyway,
He's got a bow tie.
People like Tucker will go on their massive platforms and talk about how, they're coming after us. And it's like, dude, despite everything that you've said and done, you get millions of people to watch you every night.
Yeah.
No one's coming after you, dude.
It's fine. You're fine. You're fine.
So, I don't know. We will see. I mean, a month from now, they could come after old Joe Rogan and deplatform him, and then we'll be like, oh, I guess we were wrong.
He'll still have enough money to start his own platform.
Yeah.
I assure you.
I think that is probably the future of this whole thing, right? Is people who have enough money to just go, you know what? I'm going to just do my own thing.
Yeah. Now, the tricky part is, if Google and if Apple start cutting you off from their services, it's kind of impossible for people to get to you.
That does kind of make it hard. I mean, that's what happened to Alex Jones. I mean, he started his own thing, but it's like, if nobody wants to fuck with you, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You can...
Where are they going to download your app from?
Yeah. You're going to host it on Squarespace, but even Squarespace is like, we don't want to fuck with you. We don't want to be known as the guy as the company that hosts white supremacists.
So like Parler exists still and is still running, but it's only available from what I understand, unless you've already downloaded it on your phone, which is going to, eventually age out on a desktop. Because it's still online, the website's still up, and all that. But
I kind of want to go on there just to kind of see what's
going on.
I've seen some screenshots, but obviously you can pick and choose whatever you want. But it's pretty terrible stuff. Pretty terrible stuff.
I would assume it is.
I mean, people are not exaggerating when they're like, "Yeah, it's just a site built for white supremacists." I mean, from the stuff that I've seen, obviously, I haven't seen the whole site. I haven't gone on there, and it's. It is so big, but it's also like, why else would you go on Parler?
Yeah. You're going there for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? So
you don't need to be on there other than
no
to get your shitty opinions off.
That's the gutter of the internet.
Yeah. Well, I think we thoroughly picked that apart. I think that this is I mean, some would say maybe a masterclass in political discourse.
I think so.
And when people listen back on this years from now, they'll say, wow, those guys really, really got to the heart of the problem there.
Yeah, I think we really solved it for everyone.
Yeah. If you want to know how to move forward, just listen to the One Beer podcast.
Yeah. I think I want you to redeem yourself.
In what way? Oh, okay. No, you know what? I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to redeem myself. I appreciate that.
Okay.
You're a good friend. Some would say a best friend.
Wow. Who would say that?
Not me.
Okay.
But some would say it.
Some might say. That's as far as I'm going to go with the song, because it's clearly that accurate that we'll get flagged by Oasis. All right.
Fucking Oasis. Okay, here we go.
Let's review the beers first. Let's review the beers first.
Good call.
The song outro will play as soon as we finish these, okay?
There's no song that plays anymore. I don't know if you realize this, but we don't have the I'm sorry, I don't mean to disappoint you. We don't have the soundboard right now.
What do we end on?
It just ends, dude.
We just black out?
Show just ends.
Oh my God. How long has this been happening?
Pretty much as long as the YouTube's
Oh
as
my
long as we've been on YouTube.
Okay, well
okay, listen. If I'm being honest, it's just a little more labor intensive to get that song in there, level it right for the video and the audio. And so since the ending has become so abrupt, right? The end of the show has now become we just do our sign off and then we're out, right? There was no prolonged thing. Like back before, it used to be this thing, and it's just not there anymore. So it ends so quickly.
Listen, I hear your words, but I don't feel them.
I'm sorry.
So I think we should just end this episode right
Wait, do you
now.
want me to bring... I'll bring it back this episode.
Okay.
You know what?
right.
New year, we're back on. I'll
Okay.
bring the intro song back.
Okay.
For this episode and going forward,
Okay.
the outro song is back.
I would appreciate that.
It's back.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right?
All right.
Well, we really do need to get a soundboard back.
We do. We do.
And that's pretty... I mean, I can only imagine the amount of Trump sounds that we can have on here.
We'd have a treasure trove at this
treasure
point.
trove. So,
Anywho,
Obi,
yes.
what did you think?
I enjoyed the Ferme d'Or biere de garde, aged 16 months in French oak and starfruit and muscadine grape pomace, which we didn't read at the very beginning.
Mm-mm.
Wow. Okay. Again, this is an Orlando Beer Week official release from Redlight. Redlight. I really liked it. I mean, I feel like it's pretty on par with the OG Door. So I didn't get anything above and beyond what I remember tasting from the OG, but that being said, it was still delicious. Again, I like expanding our palates with these Redlight releases because they are outside of our general like sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually, funky or sour or a combination of the two, which I find this to be. But this wasn't uncomfortably funky or sour. I enjoyed the funk. It kind of hits you in the cheeks a little bit. It reminded me a little bit of like almost like a grapefruit juice feel to it, where it's, you get a little bit of fruitiness, a little bit of a little sour, a little bit of that pucker factor.
Yeah.
And I think just a hint of bitterness in there too. So all that being said, I enjoyed it. 4.5 for me.
Shit. That's what I was going to give it, so I'm going to give it that.
Okay.
4.5 for myself also because when I smelled it, I was afraid of it. And I was like, oh, no, I'm going to have to choke this down.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to be good. And then I'm going to have to give it a shitty score and then, burn that bridge.
It's ruined. Yeah, it's ruined.
But, excuse me. No, it was a lot better than, the smell is very indicative of what you're about to taste, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're into sours. I can imagine somebody who likes sours giving this a way higher score.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's smooth. It gives you that puckerness, that sourness, a tinge of sweetness. Like you said, it's very reminiscent of some kind of grapefruit drink. Mm-hmm. Just those notes. Not really. It doesn't taste grapefruity.
No,
it's just
no.
the notes of a grapefruit.
Experience-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I would highly recommend this to people who are into sours, people who like funky beers, people who are a little off-put by IPAs and things that are a little bit more bitter. If you're somebody who likes gozes or sours, shit in that neighborhood.
Farmhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you would fuck with this. Heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give it a 4.5.
All right.
All right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
This song starts right.
No. Don't forget. We're doing it after this.
Wait, the song
The
comes
song
after
comes
that?
out after this because we need to hear you do it, without choking to death.
Okay.
Okay?
Ready?
Cheers. Cheers to you all.
Yeah. Like a man. This has been the One Baron Podcast from myself, Marco Duca, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
I got it in my beard.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer. Like, share, and subscribe everywhere that podcasts are sold and listened to and watched and all that jazz. And always, always, always have a beautiful evening.
We love you.
Lost to be